Welcome back to Mayo Clinic Radio. I'm Dr. Tom Shives.
And I'm Tracy McCrae.
The holidays. For most people, it's a joyful time of year. But, if you're like most of us, it's easy to eat a little too much.
Just a little.
And you know what that means? You put on a pound or two or three that isn't easy to get rid of. And if that happens every year, it's cumulative. It adds up.
Sure. Well, we've got a plan. That's a PLAN. That can help.
I hope so.
Joining us in studio is Mayo Clinic registered dietitian, Ms. Kate Zeratsky. Welcome back to the program, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
Did you invent this plan?
Well, I can't take absolute credit for it. It was myself and a few colleagues.
All right, very good.
Really, but it came out from Mayo Clinic.
It is.
You and your buddies.
It is a Mayo Clinic plan.
Is
Yes.
it really? Every year we hear these stories about people gaining 5 and 10 pounds over the holidays. That doesn't really happen, does it?
That's a bit exaggerated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the average people do gain weight over the holidays, right?
Right. Probably people are putting on a few pounds, maybe 2 or 3. And the concern is, by the time we get to February, there's still 1 remaining pound, and that's the pound that kind of sticks with us the rest of the year. So over the course of time, the concern is that people might have a gradual cumulative weight gain.
I don't want to blame it on the holidays. I like to kind of blame it on hibernation. A couple of winter pounds, and then I try to get them back off again in the spring and summer.
Well, and I suppose depending on the region of the world that you live in,
right, it's true.
When we're here in Minnesota, then you think January, February, March aren't the most inviting times for us to be outside. So we have to find alternative ways to be more active and engage in our health.
Well, that's why we wanted to have this conversation now instead of February. Mm-hmm. So we've got the plan. So tell us about it.
Sure. So the plan is an acronym. So the P stands for think about what's on your plate. The L stands for look for ways to lighten things up. A is a reminder to take some time to appreciate the season and what it brings. And N is just a reminder to think about how your nutrition and the food you eat kind of fit in day to day.
I love that nutrition is at the end when it comes to the holidays.
Yep.
So plate, a small plate better? I mean, if you go to the buffet table and you got the choice between a big plate and a small plate, you should take the small one?
Take the smaller one.
And then try to pick the fruit and veggie options as opposed to what else is there?
Sure. And if you have a buffet option, even surveying the buffet before you walk up and start dishing yourself up all the different options, because that in itself is a lot of temptation. But choosing fruits and vegetables or looking for those options can really help in terms of helping control your hunger and your fullness. And because fruits and vegetables are generally lower calorie foods as well, it's going to help with the overall calorie intake while you're at that holiday event.
What about before you even get to the buffet and there's appetizers everywhere? Does a dietitian enjoy appetizers, or do you just say, no appetizers, I'll just wait until we get to the meal? What do you do?
Well, and I think that if you have any chance to know what you're walking into, that's helpful. Just even that planning ahead is going to help you walk into the situation feeling a little more confident with what you want to do once you get there. Now, if you don't know, the idea of knowing that if there's going to be appetizers, there's going to be other food, then you just choose wisely. And again, when you look at the appetizers, ask what they are, or look for the ones that are containing fruits or vegetables, because chances are then overall they're going to be a little lower on the calorie side.
The tricky part about appetizers is that you can position yourself far away from the buffet, but the waiters and the waitresses bring the appetizers around to you. You have to dodge those people too. It's a little tricky.
And they don't usually have fruit on the ones trays that I've seen. All right, so we got the P, the plate size. How about L? How do we lighten up?
So if you have an opportunity, if you're the one making the food, you can look for recipes that allow for, say, lower calorie ingredients, or are an alternative recipe to maybe a holiday favorite that is lighter in calories. Another option you might consider is just lightening up your portion size. And so from the idea of if you're dishing yourself up, you have a better control of how much. But be aware that if there's a large scoop or you're dishing from a large container, that you're likely to dish up more food. And so just be aware of how much you're putting on your plate, because if you control the portion size up front, you're likely going to eat less than by the end of the party.
How do beverages fit into the lighten up part?
So just being aware that beverages have calories. I think we sometimes just don't think about that. We just have a drink, and those are calories forgotten. And so if you're enjoying, say, alcoholic beverages or beverages that are maybe a little more rich or sugary, they're going to have a significant amount of calories, and those calories can add up. So you might consider having one and then drinking some water, or having a lower calorie beverage option.
Wine and then wash it down with water, I guess is what you're saying. All right, A, appreciate.
So when you're thinking about the holidays, food is important. And as a dietitian, I fully recognize that. But there's other parts of the holidays that are fun and that we look forward to. And so I think it's sometimes important to include that in the appreciation of the overall holiday. So you have your holiday meal, but you probably have other holiday traditions that are, just as much a part of that holiday. So take some time to enjoy those, or make traditions that allow you to, go outside for a family walk, or go sledding, or do those fun things. But from a dietary standpoint, when you think about appreciating your food, it's really thinking about maybe the time and that went into making the food, maybe the family traditions behind the food, slowing down and really reflecting on that, but then reflecting on the taste, the texture, the smell, the sight of the food, and really kind of taking that in instead of just diving right in.
Yeah, because, and I don't know about at your house, Tom, but sometimes the holidays can be a little stressful.
Oh, no.
And if you use food to help deal with the stress, you can see the downward slide that you're going to have really fast. And so not doing mindless eating because you're stressed out, that makes great sense.
Right. And you think about over the holiday time, because food is part of our holiday traditions, food shows up in places that maybe you don't even expect. And so it might be coming into work, into break rooms, coming up onto your doorstep, and all well meant, but the idea of how you choose to partake in that. So it might be, is it an absolute favorite? Is it made once a year? Or maybe it's not one of your favorites and you can bypass it. And I think if you slow down, you have the opportunity to have that thought and just slow down and not just dive into the food, but rather say, is this something that's going to serve me well come February? Even.
Yeah, I got it now. If you get stressed out, you just go have a glass of water.
Perfect.
Does that work? All right. How about the end?
The end, so nutrition. So you think about just the overall balance of your nutrition and how it fits in your lifestyle. So over the course of the holiday time, what are some strategies you can use with your nutrition? Is it having half of your meal or your plate be more fruits and vegetables? Is it that you're using different recipes, or maybe you're invited to a party so you bring your own, you bring a dish to pass so you know that there's something at the party that you feel really comfortable eating. Maybe it's the balance in your lifestyle where you think about the stress and you think about, okay, so if I'm feeling particularly stressed, instead of going after the holiday cookies, maybe I'll go for that. I'll go for a walk, or I'll do something else that I enjoy. So just finding out how your nutrition kind of fits into your overall lifestyle and the health habits you're looking for.
Water instead of alcohol and no mindless munching. What fun is that?
That sounds like a great time.
Yeah, so most people gain a pound or 2 or 3 over the holidays. And isn't it interesting? You can't get a elliptical or a treadmill at the health club in January and February, but then you can for the rest of the year. And I guess you got to stay through March to get rid of that 3rd pound, huh? Right. All right, well, most of us do gain a pound or 2 or 3 over the holidays, and that doesn't sound very dramatic, but it can certainly add up over the years. So this year, don't let it happen.
Yeah, with just a few strategies, you can avoid holiday weight gain while still enjoying friends, family, and the holiday feast.
Perfect.
Our thanks to Mayo Clinic dietitian Kate Zeratsky. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.